talk about brand loyalty, the self-reinforcing commodity that every company desires to have. It's when a company has done so well with their brand to convince people in their quality, their ideology, or their customer service that they'll not only purchase anything with a brand logo, but they'll actively promote it while ignoring any other brand. And even though brand loyalty has been on a decline since the pandemic, for some of us, we can't help it. It's why I only drive Hondas. It's why I wear Cardinal Disc Golf, use code DM Creatives. And in the case of my disc golf career, it's why I only bag and throw Discraft. And it all started here in the spring of 2020. You see, following the historic signing of arguably the greatest disc golfer in 2019, Discraft had set themselves up to make moves online and in the market share. Then they backed it up by signing a few other big names and some notable influencers right before the pandemic and the explosion of disc golf. And while I didn't know much about disc golf at the time, I had seen a few videos on disc selection when doing my own research. So here I am with thousands of discs in front of me, and I can't help but be drawn to this wall. And hung up on the wall, right next to all the discs, is this poster, which helps break down so much for a beginner in the sport. And when you know it, there's the multi-time world champion whose name and face I'm starting to become familiar with. So I buy a couple of Discraft discs and the rest is history. I'm forever loyal to a company who I continue to believe has the best quality and consistency to this day. But why? It's not like I'm sponsored by them, even though I'd like to be. Psst, Wes, Emily. And then I got this comment on my latest video, which echoes similar to what my friends have been telling me for years. Am I limiting myself and my potential by not ever trying any other brand? Is there something I can learn about myself or the sport by throwing non-Discraft discs? All right, Artemis, I'm intrigued. I'm gonna empty my bag and fill it with non-Discraft discs, which I will play with every day for 1 week on a different course in my hometown of San Antonio. But rather than bringing any of my bias in selecting the discs, I'm gonna look to some of my disc golf peers. What is one non-Discraft disc that everyone should bag?
A Warden.
Easy, no doubt, Berg.
That's a good question. Probably the Mint Disc Mustang.
Firebird, for sure.
The Sheriff.
I would say is probably like the Dynamic Disc Maverick.
An FD.
A Dynamic Disc Justice.
I'd say a Halo Valkyrie.
I'm probably one of the few who would recommend rubber. Everybody should be bagging an Elevation Gecko.
The Hex.
This is a great set of discs to start, but I could definitely use a few more. I think I'll call a friend or two. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Now I can hear you. What's up,
Sick.
dude?
What up, dog? Not much. What are we doing?
It's just one question. What is one non-Discraft disc that all disc golfers should bag?
Ooh. I know my answer. My answer is the Halo Wraith.
The Realm from Gateway Disc Sports.
Realm.
Trying to think of like what my absolute go-tos are. I think I'd have to say A2.
The Monarch.
The Monarch.
I was literally joking.
Oh, okay. All right. So you want to think about it and give a real answer?
The Chief.
The Chief. Okay. And just like that, I have a full bag of possibilities. The only thing missing is a pair of putters. It's incredibly important that I get something comparable to my Lunas. So I let the internet decide what to bag. Let's hope I don't regret that. Well, it's day one. I'm a little early. I'm the only one here. Here we go. Oh, that looks pretty good. One hole in, and I was off to a great start. However, it was more important that I learn each disc rather than get birdies. That is right where I wanted it. And some were already making the wrong impression. Listen, Prodigy, I know it's kind of lowbrow to make fun of you guys, but y'all aren't beating these allegations of flashing. This thing is sharp. Oh, it's stable. Oh, that sucks. All right, one thing quick to note about the AVR. This angle right here is definitely sharper. Whereas on a Luna, it's definitely got more of like a round rim, kind of similar to this Warden here. I think I like that round feel a little bit better, and this is actually what I'm gonna throw on this next hole. Oh, she is way flippier. That's not that bad, that's workable. I'm gonna give the Maverick a chance. See what we think of this one. Oh, she's nice. Oh yeah, that's very similar to my Athena. I'm gonna try out this Realm. These numbers would suggest this thing is more stable for my arm, but let's find out. Yeah, that thing is more stable. Yikes! All of my reactions aside, it's safe to say that I found some success on day one. All right, it's day two. Pretty excited to be back out on a course. Let's jump into it. It's dead straight. Gotta miss the Mando. I feel like this is a perfect opportunity to try out the Hex. Right into the Mando tree. I kind of want something a little stable, but not as stable as the A2. So I'm gonna try this Mustang. Oh yeah. Oh, that's more stable than I thought. Yeah, so a quick update. I feel like I've understood my putters now. Oh, Daniel. All right, we're gonna try the Gecko.
Perfect.
All right, I gotta admit, that's kind of surprised me. Today, the most surprising disc by far was the Gecko. Once it's done with its flight and it hits the ground, it just kind of stays. It's a little gimmicky, but it does help in certain situations for sure. We're gonna get going. I know it's a little dark, so apologies in advance if the footage is hard to see. Let's jump into it. Yeah, that'll work. Oh, I flipped it. That's gonna work out great. It's another opportunity for me to practice my thumber.
Nice shot.
That was nice. Go in? Oh. Dang, I wish I would have had a catch cam on this one because this had to have been so close. By the end of day 3, it's safe to say that I'm genuinely enjoying this challenge. Maybe it's because I got to play disc golf 3 mornings in a row. I will say one unfortunate thing this morning is that I don't have as much time. We pretty much just have to pick a disc, decide what we want to go with, and throw. I think it's good practice for us regardless. Oh yeah, that's nice. I don't have a lot of discs to spare. The one that I'm probably using the least right now, this Justice. Hopefully we don't lose it, but if we do, just know you weren't being well used anyway. Oh yeah. A little short. Oh yeah. You know, I think I've kind of figured out this Sheriff a little bit more. I just have to put it on flat to slight ante. This is challenging me a little bit to kind of change how I throw my distance driver. Give this rum another chance. Try to have a big pan. Oh, that's still gonna be OB. Oh man. Gonna try out the A2 here. Oh my gosh. We're now more than halfway through this week, halfway through this challenge. Technique aside, there are definitely some discs that I feel like I can rely on a lot more than others. There are definitely a few discs that I don't think I will ever touch again after this challenge is over. Literally rained last night over here. It poured. It's now all muddy and disgusting. Should be a fun time. Let's see how it goes. A little nature moment here. Check that dude out. And try the Firebird out. Definitely a little wider than I would have wanted. Oh. Throw a pretty big power forehand, have it stand up a little. Oh, that's gonna end up short. All right, just a small little issue here. There's an actual river of water between me and where I have to get to. After that last haul, now my right foot is completely soaked.
Nope.
I'm gonna be honest, this round has not been fun.
And it wasn't. Aside from a few decent shots, the rest of my round could have been summed up with one sound.
If I'm being completely honest, I can't stand these things right now. The way this rim is designed, when my hand comes forward to release, this index finger is constantly getting stuck. I have no idea where my release point is at this point. One of the only courses in San Antonio that has a cost, but it's a good course. Like, it's a fun course. Don't need much off this first tee. Just want to get in a good spot, make the Mandos. Yeah, that'll work. Doesn't get much better than this. Without a doubt, one of the coolest holes in San Antonio. You have to cross the road to get in bounds. Going with the Sheriff. Oh yeah. Fly, baby.
There was something really special about day 6. I was starting to feel a lot more confident in my disc selection, and despite the muggy conditions, I was having a blast throwing some plastic circles.
I think that's in the creek. This was somehow in bounds. Oh no, that's in the water. Safe. I am tired, sweaty, muddy, my socks are wet, but I had fun. Oh, I had fun today. Only one day left. Well, it is day 7. Even though it's a little somber that today is my final day, I'm kind of excited. All right, here we go. Hole 1, going with the Warden. Should be circle. Nice little tester here. That's a good start. Oh boy, yanked it. Still should have a circle. 2 for 2. Oh no. I can't believe I almost lost this in here. Surrounded by all this cactus. I probably spent the last 20 minutes looking for it.
That little mishap aside, I was really enjoying my final day of this challenge. Each day this past week really helped me learn the discs in my bag, and I may have thrown one of the best shots I've ever thrown on this tee.
All right, well, we made it 1 week down. So I'm sure the big question on everyone's mind is, now what? I think the only way to give these discs a proper and fair chance of actually making my bag is to put something of my own up on the table. My rating.
It's day 8, and I'm at Max Starkey Park with a bag full of discs that I just started throwing a week ago. Except today, it's an officially sanctioned tournament, and my rating is on the line. There's honestly not a lot to say through the first 12 holes. I was playing fairly boring golf. I did manage this circle 2 par save on hole 1, as well as a near throw-in on hole 2. But nothing else that exciting happened until hole 13, where I started having flashbacks.
Oh, jeez. I hurt my leg right here.
Almost 5 months later, and I'm standing in the exact same spot I sustained my first disc golf injury. Let's hope we don't repeat. No injury this time, just an outside look at Eagle. This is exactly what I need to break the boring streak. In all honesty, I played fairly well and finished with a rating of 892, but it wouldn't be a true trip to Starkey without at least one injury scare.
I'm okay. Well, now that it's been a week and a day straight of throwing non-Discraft, what did we learn? First off, I think I bag way too many discs. I currently bag 28 discs with 20 different molds, and despite only carrying 16 different molds during this challenge, I was still able to compete at a fairly comparable level. Secondly, I learned that my form, and more specifically, my inability to throw nose down, has really forced me to throw more understable discs. While the average MA2 player might be able to hyzer flip a Sheriff, I really had to rely on more of a flat to slight ante shot to get any real distance. But what about the discs, you ask? Well, this video is already way too long, so let's just take a look at a few under the categories the good, the bad, and the wonky. This should be no surprise. The Firebird is a well-designed disc that flies similar to my 2021 Tour Series Raptor. Every time I reached for it, it was extremely reliable and flew exactly how I expected it would. The Mustang from Mint Discs surprised me and had a lot of similarities to the Buzz. I could get this disc to flip up and fly straight, and the depth and feel of the rim is exactly what I'm looking for in a mid-range. Last in the good is the FD. This disc has a great feel and is perfect for those straight shots with a relatively small finish that falls somewhere between my Cicada and Athena. By far, my least used disc during this challenge was the Justice. This thing was marketed to me as something similar to a Zone OS. I would argue and say that it's probably closer to a Buzz OS, but overall, the stability was so inconsistent and I really only had one decent shot with it. From the minute I picked up the Realm, I was not a fan. It's incredibly pop-top and the flight plate is extremely thin. It flew much more stable than I anticipated it would and with much less glide than advertised. All in all, it wasn't for me. I wanted to like the A2. I would go so far as to say that it's a decent disc. However, with so many zone-like approach discs on the market, I can't excuse the blatant negligence of flashing, which made me feel like I was gonna cut my finger every time I grabbed it. I know I'm probably gonna get hate for this. I can totally see why some people prefer the Hex to the Buzz. However, like the Frankenstein monster that it is, I cannot get over the feeling of an overmold disc in my hand. It just feels wrong. Not to mention that the Hex is much shallower than the Buzz, which gives you far less control unless you have dainty hands. The unique rim of the Berg is a feeling unlike most discs. What I do really like about this disc is that it really flies like a true one-speed. I was never concerned about my disc flying past the basket, and despite its uniqueness, it's actually pretty practical. It should be obvious that the Gecko is very different from other discs on this list. However, I actually grew to have a greater appreciation for it as time went on. One thing that a rubber disc does very well is sticks very close to wherever it hits. And while that is its gimmick, there's a lot of applications to that. If you can get over the floppy feeling, I think this disc will surprise you as it did me. If you're curious about my thoughts on the other discs, here's a tier list. Those are still popular, right? Overall, I would say my biggest takeaway is that there are many different companies out there producing high quality discs. And most major manufacturers will have enough variety in their lineup to cover your entire game. So finally, will I start to bag anything other than Discraft? Probably not.